All right, Vanny here. Another series of philosophies in the street. And today I have a friend of mine that I consider to be a philosopher, who the matter of has a good pose of what is important intellectually a time period, this moment. So this conversation is a simple conversation. We're going to talk about anything. And yes. So, what I'll do is this. To respect your privacy. Yeah. All right. There you go. Yes, I think this is good. This is good. Yeah. How long? Yeah. Would you introduce yourself and how long Cincinnati has been home?
Well, my name is Brett,
yes,
and
Brett,
I've lived in Cincinnati for 21 years now.
21 years, yes.
I grew up in Dayton, Ohio,
yes.
but I've been living here for 21 years, so yes.
Yeah, since you arrived to Cincinnati now, what has been the state of the city based on your...
Ooh. Well, I mean, it's changed only to stay the same. I
and it changes to stay the same.
Yeah.
So
more so than my hometown of Dayton, which really has changed. So
for the good or for the worst?
Mostly for the worse, unfortunately. Yeah.
What are the value has been destroyed that was sort of good at a time that is no longer there?
Well, the industry. Manufacturing was there, yes.
That manufacturing. So Cincinnati is the same as well. Cincinnati as well.
Yes, but it was able to, I think, absorb those changes a little better than Dayton, just because Cincinnati is a bigger city with more resources.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah. But Dayton was, I think, even more heavily industrialized and manufacturing than Cincinnati.
So
for a time, it was the tool and die industry capital of the world.
Oh.
At the turn of the 20th century. So
they took
through most of the 20th century. Yeah.
So they took the big blow.
Yeah.
From.
They did. They did. Much bigger than Cincinnati.
If you have to rewind time and have the ability to nudge, to preserve what was once there, what are the decisions you think they should be made?
Oh boy.
Yeah.
You're putting me on the spot.
I'm sorry.
Those are, like in the political sense, are we asking, or are we?
Well, maybe. So what was it?
Ultimately, these are political.
Correct.
You know.
Oh yeah. Okay, good. Maybe we'll put a pin on that question for a little bit. Yeah, tell me a little bit of your intellectual journey and how you got to where you are today, and what are the books that sort of guide you along the way, and those that mark some of your crossover moment.
Well, you know, I've always loved literature and poetry, especially since I was a child. Just even before I could read, I loved language. I loved the sound of it.
Yeah, yes.
And even the way it looked on the page before I could actually, you know, understand it, and you know, all of that. It just the love of language is what drove me and has guided me. Yeah. So.
Is it? What is called stanza is a
stanza, yeah.
Yeah. So you were in love with literature with the aesthetic first.
With just language in general. It doesn't even necessarily have to be, because you know, when you're a child, you don't really understand it as literature per se.
Right.
You just hear people talking, the words around you, and you know, as you learn to read better, you start to, you know, take that love to the page and words on the page. So, yeah.
And
so literature and poetry, those are my first loves. Philosophy kind of came later, in a sense.
Okay.
Although all children are born metaphysicians, philosophers, as they say. So.
Oh, really?
Well, that's Henri Bergson, the
Yes.
French philosopher, said all children are natural metaphysicians. So,
Correct.
so yeah.
And what are those books that sent you on the rabbit hole? What are the early books that you have encountered that kind of push you down on the stream of?
Well, that's like trying to pick my favorite child or something. You know, I don't.
Nobody got a favorite child, but
Right.
everyone can remember the first child, right? So I think that's the question. It was like, what was your first child that you found? Oh, this is maybe. Those are the moment, the pivotal moment to ignite your love for literature even more.
I don't know if it was one moment.
Okay,
you
okay,
know, it
okay.
was just kind of a series, you know,
Nice.
and yeah. So I can't say
Yeah.
this or that. At least not till I got a little older.
Uh-huh.
You know, then I can. Well, yeah, I can point to this and that.
Yeah.
But as a child,
Sure.
It's just very kind of amorphous. I don't, you know.
Correct.
Yeah, so I can't point to anything specific per se.
Nice.
Yeah. So I mean, I also, you know, my love of theater also I think came from, along with my love of language, because they go hand in hand.
Correct.
And I can't really separate those two. I mean, yeah, my whole life, like from just being a toddler, I can remember playing dress up, you know, as I think almost all children do. You know, play dress up and all
correct.
that. But you know, and my love of language, and so I just kind of naturally became drawn towards just theater and
Nice.
literature and philosophy and all those things. So.
And who are your AVA, the people you stand the most on their shoulder?
Oh. Well, intellectually speaking, you mean? Or,
Yes, intellectually speaking.
well, I mean, Karl Marx is
Karl Marx.
someone that that was a big, huge encounter with Marx, and that never ends, you know.
Correct.
When things aren't going well, I'll always go back and read Marx. So
it's almost your intellectual conscious.
yeah, and he was such a wonderful writer too.
Sure. Yes.
I mean, that's what people don't understand, that he was this great, he was a literary master as well, Marx,
Right.
in the way he wrote.
Yes.
So, and he didn't want to spend his life's work on, you know, Das Kapital. He wanted to write his big book on Balzac, you know, the famous French writer. You know,
Right.
That's what he wanted to be writing about art and literature and all of that. And he did to an extent, but he didn't. He wasn't able to focus on that as much. He had to, you know, write his big book on,
Right.
you know, the dismal science, as he called it, economics. So.
Right. You know, it's there's one of my favorite essay with Fitzgerald. It's called The Crack Up.
Yeah.
And it was alluring to. There was a time literature was sort of the voice, the conscious voice of the popular. People was looking for books to come out. But it was going to a changing to movie.
Yeah.
Right. And as a now, for you, what have you seen? What is the voice of reason? What is coming from now?
Well, I can tell you where it's not coming from, which is the digital. The digital, even though we're participating in that,
we are contributing to
that is a very problematic development, I think, for us as human beings. So, on all levels, I mean, morally, politically, socially, you know, it's very, very problematic.
So, the digital, do you think is a portal of corruption, intellectual corruption?
I think it's I think it's a capitalist wet dream, the digital, because it is the panopticon.
Correct.
You know, Jeremy Bentham. That
Yes.
It is the all-seeing,
Right.
and there's no, you know, the digital is the cybernetic system,
Yeah.
and in a system there's no outside to that system. You can't escape it.
You're part of it.
Yeah. So that to me is very disturbing. Yeah. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I see. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of truth to it.
Right. Now it can lead to this sort of thing, like this kind of exchange, but we could do this without that.
Right. Correct. Yes.
So.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I'm also like books, right? If Karl Marx
Yeah.
never wrote,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Never archived his ideas.
Yeah.
Therefore, a lot of us want to never get access to that. So, I mean, there is also an essential responsibility of archiving the journey to break down ideas and challenge what is taking place. I know it's like, yes, the preferred mode is sometimes to go stealth mode, which is like, it's good to some extent.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think it's also, I like kind of the intellectual vulnerability of archiving your thought process. How do you archive your ideas? What's your best method?
Well, pen and paper. Pen and paper. Notebooks. Notebooks. Yeah. That's in my books. I'm annotating my books all the time. So, and underlining. To the point, I'll underline the entire book, which kind of defeats the purpose. But oh well. So.
I was alluding earlier about Du Bois.
Yeah. Yeah.
And some of his philosophy, I wholeheartedly agree with. The age of authenticity, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. It's like, how do you carve individuality if you're in a web, or you constantly be bombarded?
Yeah.
How do you go off?
I think friendships and being open to the surprise of the encounter, just like we're having this right now. I didn't think I would see you today.
Sure.
Even though I've known you for a long time, I just run into you randomly, and now we're having this conversation. I had no idea when I woke up this morning that this was going to be happening.
I have to say thank you, because there was I did ask a little bit more to this interaction, which is
it's okay.
Extremely flexible.
I enjoy that.
Yeah, because that's true. Is the human to human.
Yeah.
One of the things I've done with the urban hikers, there's this idea of idea interaction per minute. Right. So I was in a meeting where there was 20 people.
Yeah.
And 80-20 rule apply. You have maybe 3 or 4 guys talk 80% of the time. Yeah. And I reflect a little bit. I was like, okay, we didn't get a lot of idea exchange.
Right.
Because the interaction was
one way.
Yeah, it was one way. Yeah. And it's like how I think that's the kind of the problem we are having currently, where people do not communicate, and the conversation is one way.
Yeah,
we're just on the receiving end of. For you, what has been some of your practices to make sure you are stay intellectually on the right side of things?
Well, always learning and reading. That's and just trying to stay human.
How do you stay human?
Not easily.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's hard to stay human.
Yes, it is.
Because it is hard.
Yeah. Yeah, because we have to conform to the machine. We have to conform to the spectacle and the
spectacle.
computer and all of that.
Right.
So it doesn't conform to us.
Yeah.
That's what's one of the perversities of the digital, is that it forces us to adapt to it
Yes.
rather than the technology being adapting to us.
So there's a cost there.
Well, there's a huge cost. Yeah.
So is eradicate humanity? You think?
No, because I don't think. No, because I don't want to give it that much importance.
Right.
In a sense,
Yeah.
like it's
okay.
because it's we as humans in a society, we created this technology and we're doing this. We ultimately are in control of this. So
Sure.
it's our responsibility one way or the other. So it's not the fault of an electronic box
Sure, yes.
with algorithms.
Right.
That's what a computer is.
But there's an interesting infatuation with it, right?
Yes.
I never see that with like books with people, Well, some
Okay.
people,
Yeah.
there was a small margin,
Yeah.
but it's like it just captured the imagination of like a broad spectrum of humans,
Sure.
but they have the same intensity with it. And I wonder.
Well, I mean, a book is open-ended. I mean, I can be reading a book, but when I'm reading a book, that to me is like that's still an invitation. It's not a wall that I'm putting up to other people. But if I'm sitting here, in a coffee shop, and everybody's got their computer out or their tablet or their phone, staring at a screen, that's a wall
It is.
that we've created. A book is that's an opening to a conversation. I see somebody reading a book, or if I'm reading a book, I'm
You're,
I'm open. I'm open to that social encounter. Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's
You're not getting that with a screen. I mean, that when somebody's got that screen in front of them, it's saying, "Stay away." I'm here. So.
is it technology is jealous to some extent.
That's one way of putting it. Yeah.
Because you want all your attention. Oh yeah. So there was like I know it is less rude to interrupt somebody when they have a book.
Yeah.
With them. But it seems to be extremely rude
Yes.
to do that when somebody got a computer.
Oh
in front
yes.
of them.
Yes. Yeah.
Even though they're not doing anything important.
Right.
For most of the time.
Right. Most of the time, no. But
Wow. So these things is changing the fabric of how we communicate.
well, and how we understand reality, because it's we lose sight of what's real and what isn't. When we're staring at a screen, because what's on that screen is unreal. It's virtual.
Correct.
So, that's even if it's real, even what's happening on the screen is somehow real. It's not real. It's a screen. It's mediated by this this technology. Yeah.
So
And who's in control of that technology too? Because we aren't. Not in control of that.
we're just on the receiving end of it.
Right.
All right. I think you're good. No, yeah, that's it. Thank you. This is good. This is it is. I was reading an article where I think there was some country in Africa where they installed a satellite and introduced internet the first time. And the first thing that happened is like people got hooked on porn.
Yeah. Sure. I
Right.
can see that. Yeah.
So it is now that would disrupt the sexual healthiness of that community, because now you introduce a stream of different ideas.
Yeah.
Wow. So we need a killer switch. Should we turn off the internet?
You know, I think it's the digital as much. I mean, the internet is just a part of that, you know. But yeah, the digital is very, very problematic. So, and it's not neutral. It's not a neutral technology that you can say, well, if so and so is in control of that technology, then it's okay. You know, digital is like nuclear bombs or nuclear power. It's not neutral. It doesn't matter if the workers are in control of that nuclear missile or that nuclear power plant. It's not neutral. Okay, it's nuclear, which means the end. You know, it's yeah.
It's the kaboom.
Right. There's no good way to use it. I guess is what I'm saying. It's not neutral. It's not like a hammer.
Correct.
A hammer is, you know, neutral, and depending on how you use it, okay, it could be good or it could be bad. Some things like nuclear are bad. They're just bad. There's just no.
So there's certain system. Is already the intention. Big thing is already bad, regardless who's using it.
Right. It's not neutral. Yeah. And the digital isn't neutral because, like, it's a cybernetic system, and there's no outside to a system. There isn't.
If you were to redesign a city, or perhaps not a city, perhaps if you have to preserve part of the human interactions, what would you suggest for people to do on a daily basis, perhaps, as a practice?
Just be together. You know, just be together and I not to repeat myself, but be open to the potentiality and the possibility of being surprised every day, every moment. You know, in the present, not for the moment, but in the moment. You know, that's different. Two different things. So.
All right. I won't take too much. It's good.
I could go on, but you know.
No, please.
No.
This is the first one. All right, yeah. This is fair.
And they're getting ready to close up, so.
All right. Thank you, Brett. I appreciate it for you.
You're welcome.
Yeah,
you're welcome.
This is good. I know it's off the cuff, but sometimes.
That's the best sometimes.
Right. Yeah, I think I want to use this for the future. Yes. All right, good.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Oh.
All right.
It's good running into you.
Yeah.